In 1835, the French novelist Alexandre Dumas walked through the alleys of Naples and observed a food that turned his stomach. Naples was severely overcrowded, with roughly a third of its residents living in destitution. Poor families crouched over open-air stalls, eating flattened discs of dough topped with whatever meager scraps their poverty allowed. Dumas noted that you could read a family's fortune for the week directly on their dough, like a broker reading a ticker tape. A smear of oil meant a bad week. A genuinely good week might bring a scrap of cheese or a few tiny fish. To find the origin of this flatbread, we have to look back nearly 6,000 years to the ancient Near East, where it began strictly as a survival mechanism. Early humans learned to grind wild wheat and barley into a paste and bake it directly in the ashes of a fire. It required no complex tools and no waiting for dough to rise, making it the literal difference between a family surviving the winter and starving before spring. Thousands of years before the tomato was even discovered, flatbread was cheap, filling sustenance. It fed Roman soldiers on campaign, it fed dock workers, and even fed slaves. It was the unglamorous food of the working class. When the tomato finally arrived from the Americas in the 1500s, wealthy Europeans wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. Botanists correctly identified the fruit as a member of the nightshade family, the same group that includes deadly, poisonous plants like belladonna. Wealthy households ate off expensive pewter plates, containing high lead. Acidic tomatoes leached this fatal toxin into their food. The poor, however, ate off cheap wooden dishes. Wood leaches nothing. This lack of fashionable tableware inadvertently protected the impoverished from the hazard the rich created. Left with nothing to lose, the starving underclass of southern Italy adopted the fruit. By the late 1600s, they began stewing tomatoes and spreading them across the flatbreads sold by local street vendors. This combination of ancient dough and feared fruit became modern pizza. It was sold by the slice for pennies to laborers who lacked kitchens of their own, bearing a deep social stigma among respectable Italians. In 1889, Queen Margherita of Savoy visited Naples and requested to try the local street food her subjects ate. A local pizza maker served her a pie deliberately topped with red tomato, white mozzarella, and green basil, to mirror the newly unified Italian flag. Her approval marked a rare instance where the aristocracy publicly validated a dish tied to poverty. Between 1880 and 1920, 4 million Italians immigrated to the United States, bringing these distinct food traditions across the ocean with them. Upon arrival, the existing population viewed them with deep suspicion. Southern Italians were crowded into poorly ventilated tenement housing and classified by prevailing racial theories as an inferior category. The hostility was severe, culminating in violence like the 1891 mass lynching of 11 Italian immigrants in New Orleans. Consequently, Italian culture and food remained largely isolated inside ethnic neighborhoods. Mainstream American newspapers actively shunned pizza during this period, describing it as a strange, garlicky curiosity to be avoided. The turning point occurred during World War II. Hundreds of thousands of American GIs stationed in Italy encountered pizza in bombed-out cafes and makeshift kitchens near the front lines. They returned home with a massive craving for the dish. This sudden surge in demand completely overwhelmed the traditional, highly specialized methods of baking Neapolitan pizza. In 1945, an inventor named Ira Nevin developed a gas-fired pizza oven, eliminating the need to maintain complex, specialized wood and coal fires. Simultaneously, food scientists engineered low-moisture, part-skim mozzarella. Unlike fresh buffalo mozzarella, this industrial cheese melted evenly, survived long shipping routes, and didn't spoil in a matter of days. These two technologies removed the massive bottlenecks of traditional pizza making. A motivated entrepreneur with modest capital could now open a pizzeria without years of artisanal training. Business pioneers quickly capitalized. In 1960, a man named Tom Monaghan bought a small pizza shop in Michigan that would eventually become Domino's. Monaghan built his entire model around logistics, famously guaranteeing a pie delivered directly to a customer's door in 30 minutes or less. Meanwhile, frozen brands like Totino's brought pizza directly into home kitchens, removing the need for a restaurant or a delivery driver entirely. Within roughly 15 years, a meal that had spent centuries as an unwanted ethnic curiosity became the cheapest, fastest, and most accessible food in the United States. This industrialized model was then exported across the globe. Pizza became a blank canvas adapted to local tastes, topped with mayonnaise and squid in Japan, or paneer and tandoori chicken in India. It is now deeply woven into daily geopolitical life. Government watchers even monitor the Pentagon Pizza Index, tracking late-night delivery surges to government buildings to predict international crises. In 2001, Pizza Hut paid to have a specially prepared pie delivered directly to astronauts aboard the International Space Station. From its roots as a 6,000-year-old survival ration to the squalid alleys of Naples, a meal once deemed unfit for civilized tables is now a $150 billion global industry. The desperate resourcefulness of the poor ultimately fed the entire planet. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden stories behind this everyday object, hit the like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what everyday item we should investigate next.